What up, YouTube? This video is taken on this Thursday afternoon, May 26, 2022. Time right now is 5:10 p.m. And excuse my voice, I'm suffering from allergies. Apparently, the Sahara Desert dust came across the ocean and hit Florida, and apparently I'm allergic to it. Apparently that happens every year, but I've never heard that before. I've been having some allergies for the past couple days, and as you can tell from the title of this video, I bought a one wheel. So I've been, ever since one wheels came out, I've been curious about them and interested in them, but they were kind of too pricey for me to justify to get one. And so I ended up building, a couple of years back, I ended up building an electric skateboard, which it worked out good. You know, I finished it, but the way I built the electric skateboard, it ended up not being that practical for me to use. Pretty much I can only use it on asphalt. You know, I can't ride sidewalks with it. You can, but it's not as practical to use. So I ended up not using it that much. And when I went to build that electric skateboard, I thought about building a one wheel because there was a very, very small community of people who built their own one wheels using hub motors they bought off of eBay and using a VESC controller. But I didn't do that because it seemed like it was a novelty. Didn't seem like what they were building was as practical as a one wheel. So, you know, since then I've always been curious about them. Around that time that I built the electric skateboard, a guy posted a video going from one side of Florida to the other side of Florida, Florida coast to coast, on a one wheel. And he actually did that more as like a publicity stunt to talk about right to repair issues with one wheel. So that was the first time I heard about right to repair issues with one wheel. And then, of course, everyone knows, he didn't get a lot of voice on that. I think he did get a response from Future Motion, but no one really paid attention. So then everyone knows that Louis Rossman did a whole group of videos on the right to repair issues on one wheel, and that kind of like, that definitely influenced my decision not to purchase a brand new one wheel, because especially with the whole GT situation where you unplug the battery, you brick it, because the batteries are expendable, you know, so you're pretty much putting a shelf life. Oh, that's weird. My lens popped out. There, are you back? Should I change up the view some? See me from the back? But yeah, the batteries are expendable, so the whole idea that they, I don't know why my phone's going off so much, but the whole idea that they lock the one wheel down so much that if you disconnect the battery, it bricks it is insane. Because I think about how Boosted Board, you know, if I would do it all over again, when Boosted Board went out of business and they had the blowout sale trying to get rid of their inventory, I would have bought one of those Boosted Boards. But you think about how fast Boosted Board went under. You think about how fast Boosted Board went under, you know, to rely on a company to maintain your equipment, you know, a small company, you know, it's kind of ridiculous. But after doing some research and kind of wanting to get into one wheels, I made the decision to try to buy a used one wheel, and more specifically to try to buy the Plus model, since the Plus model didn't have as many right to repair issues as the other models. So I just browsed Facebook Marketplace for the last 4 months, and I was pretty much lowballing people on these one wheel pluses. And the funny part is, when you search Facebook Marketplace, you see a whole bunch of Pines. the Facebook Marketplace has a whole bunch of pints for sale, a handful of XRs, and then pluses are like few and far between. So I don't know if they sold a lot more pints and that's why there's a lot more pints for sale, or if a lot of people are disappointed in their pints, so that's why they're for sale. But I thought that was kind of interesting. So I saw this one and for sale, one wheel plus with charger. That's the only thing the description said, and from the pictures the only thing I could tell was that it had missing grip tape. So I lowballed the guy $500, and he said he could only do 6. And it was a bit of a drive away, and I thought, well, $600 is probably a good deal for it. 328 miles on it, and he said it ran. So, but I didn't jump on it because I was like, nah, it's a long drive, and if you're gonna accept an offer, you gotta be willing to, pick it up right away. So I waited on it, and then last Friday, I couldn't sleep. I woke up early. I couldn't sleep, and usually I have my phone turned off so I don't go to, grabbing my phone as soon as I wake up. But I didn't do that day. So I woke up early, grabbed my phone, and I had a Facebook message from the guy saying that he needed to get rid of it and that he would take $500. So I jumped in my car and I drove down to Sarasota. It was an hour and 40-minute drive, 100 miles each way, so it was a 200-mile round-trip drive, and I picked it up. Well, that happened again. This is an aftermarket. It's weird how it just, I think the heat must be heating it up, and the case is getting malleable. This is an aftermarket like holder for the Insta360 1R, because I have a cold shoe. It's a cold shoe mount on top to put the wireless mic receiver. But anyway, so I drove down there and bought it. And one thing that you got to factor these days that I didn't really factor at the time is it cost me $45 worth of gas. Let me see what my battery life's doing. I don't want to mute my phone because I want to get alerts through the One Wheel app. So I started out with 98% battery. So we're at 88% and we went 0.8 miles. So I've only drained the battery once on this thing. He gave it to me with 97% battery, and I put 3 miles on it before the battery went dead. So, but we got plenty of battery life, doing a lot better. So anyway, one thing I didn't factor on the whole purchase thing and driving down to Sarasota, it's a 200-mile round trip, is it cost me like $45 to $50 in gas just to do that. But it was a fun trip. It was my first time down in Sarasota, and you probably saw the video. I brought my quadcopter with me. I threw it in the car, and after I picked it up, I drove around Sarasota a little bit and tried to find interesting places to fly. So yeah, so I purchased the One Wheel, and my original intent. Oh yeah, so another reason why I decided to go ahead and pursue trying to buy a One Wheel is, like I said, I saw early on the Vest guys making their own One Wheels, but since then I noticed that they really have come a long ways with their controller, and now you can buy that Vest controller open source, or you can even build one yourself and use it to control your One Wheel. So I thought that's what made me go ahead and pull the trigger to try to get one, because now I know that this thing will never turn into a paperweight, because as long as the motor doesn't go, as long as your motor's good with the whole open source community, you can keep it going. The funny part is, and the reason why I was lowballing people was because One Wheel goes out of warranty warranty is only for the original owner. So when you buy one used, you have no warranty. And unless you know how to do stuff yourself, you're relying on Future Motion. And on top of that, there's an email from Future Motion. Someone tried to get their Plus repaired, and they said they used the terminology that the sun was setting on the Plus for them to repair it. But Yeah, so I bought it with 328 miles on it. Before I started this trip, I put 4 miles on it. And he warned me that the tire was in bad shape. And so I told myself I was going to buy it and just learn how to ride around as much as I possibly can before I try to like modify it or what have you. But the tire really doesn't hold air. The only reason the tire holds air is because it has slime in it. So I filled it up right before. I put 20 PSI in it. I weigh like 100. I lost some weight. My weight is staying consistently under 185. I think it was like 183 this morning. So I put 20 PSI in it, but the air leaks. The only thing that keeps the air in the tire is the slime. You can see the slime bubble out. And I asked him, so it has 328 miles on it. He said he hasn't used it in a while because he used to walk his dog with it, and his dog passed away. But I asked him about if he replaced the tire before, and he said, yeah, I already replaced the tire. So I thought that was kind of weird that he replaced the tire twice with 328 miles on it, because when I checked, when I've been doing my research on it, it seems like people get a lot more use out of the tire than, under 300 miles. So anyway, I wanted to take my time, and there's the lake for you, I think this is a quarry lake. I don't think it's a natural pond. I think it's from when they were digging out sand here. I made a video back here before. This is a local wildlife park. Yeah, I wasn't prepared to buy a tire, but then when I realized that the tire was not usable for long term, I tried to do my research on what kind of tire I would want to buy. Do I want to buy treaded? And I kind of went back and forth watching all these videos. Everyone has a different opinion on what tire to use. And I finally found one that I thought, okay, this is a good happy medium to buy. I'm buying it blind because I haven't really ridden the one wheel too much to know what I want. And that tire was out of stock everywhere. So I was like, okay, after all that, I was like, I'm just going to put the stock tire back on. And to my knowledge, this tire that's on it right now is a stock tire. So I bought a stock tire, but I didn't, quote unquote, buy a stock tire. Once I got the size of the Vega that was the stock tire, I just Google searched it, and I found a go-kart shop that sold the tire a lot cheaper. And so it's not specifically for one wheel, so they had different blends of rubber hardness. Let me check the app. Wow, we're doing really good. We're doing a lot better than what I thought we would do based on my previous riding. We're at 80% and 1.5 miles. So I bought a tire from a go-kart shop that's the same size Vega Slick, but it's MCM material. It's harder. And I double checked on that Craft and Ride place, and they sell the same tire too. So even though it's harder, you can still use it for the one wheel, I think. It's supposed to be more durable. And the funny part is the go-kart place. So I was checking all these different places to get the tire the cheapest. And this go-kart place had the cheapest because shipping was really a bummer on this situation. But even Craft and Ride shipping was really expensive. And then they emailed me like an hour after I visited the site and gave me a code for free shipping. I hate it when companies do that. It's almost like now, whenever you buy anything online, you gotta put it in your cart, type in your information, and then leave it, and then see if they email you with a discount code later, because a lot of companies do that. But even with the free shipping, Craft and Ride was more expensive for the tire. But anyway, the shipping was so cheap on this tire is because this go-kart place is 60 miles away. So, like I said, with the whole how much it costs cost for gas to buy this thing, I factored how much it would cost for gas to pick it up at that go-kart place, and it would have cost me 60 miles each way, 120 miles would have cost me like $27 in gas, and it was $10 shipping. So I just went ahead and shipped it, and it came in the next day since it was so close. But yeah, so I'm going to, not this weekend, I'm going to try to take this, I'm going to Cocoa on Saturday to fly my quadcopter. I'm going to take this to Cocoa to try to ride it around afterwards. But I'm not going to have enough time in my schedule, or I guess I should say I'm not really motivated to try to change the tire before then, so I'm going to just fill it up right before I go. Like I said, this has slime in it, and you can't use a bicycle pump. You got to use an air compressor because a bicycle pump won't like push through the slime on the valve stem. But I think just in of itself, I think 75% battery, 1.8 miles. In of itself, I think this ended up being a good deal. And like I said, I thought the battery was a lot worse than what it was based on the fact that I only put 3 miles on a charge. But when I put it 3 miles on a charge, when he gave me the board, it had 97% battery. And when I put 3 miles on it, had 3% battery, which I found out now that's good because that means your batteries are in balance. So I didn't know if that was good or not. So what I did was I left it on the charger for 2 days, 48 hours, because supposedly that balances the cells. There's no way to check to see if the cells are balanced or not. So I put it on the charger for 48 hours to quote unquote balance the cells. And then I ran it down to 50%. I mean, I kind of told myself that I was going to always leave this one wheel sitting at 40 to 60%. But when I ran it down to 50%, the tire was flat. That's when I realized, I didn't realize at the time that the tire didn't hold air. So it really ate through the battery. That 50% really ate through the battery. I forget how far I went. I think I went 1 mile on 50%. So that's why I was like, man, this battery's toast. But I'm just gonna hold out. I can build, my plan is if the battery's toast, let's see, I don't know which, this is a little more dirty. Let me check my battery. I'm gonna go down the sand trail, 72%, 2 miles, 72%. I'm gonna go down the sand trail just to make it a little interesting, and then I'll turn around. I haven't been down this trail on the wildlife path. I've only been, this wildlife path goes in a complete loop. I've only been through the complete loop, which is like 4.5 miles to go through the whole loop. And my goal is, at this wildlife park, I want to see a Florida panther. If you search it on Google where I live, they say there's no Florida panthers in the area on Google. Oh, someone took a horse down here. There's horse trails, horse footprints. They say there's no Florida panthers in this area because they say there's no Florida panthers north of some river. I'll post it, some river in Florida. But I know 2 people who've had confirmed sightings of a Florida panther in this area. So my goal is I want to see a Florida panther in this area, but I think you got to wait till more in the evening. I saw a Florida panther at the zoo a couple of months ago, and ever since then, oh, I see the road. Is that the highway? Oh, that's the highway. So they're going to put a big expansion in. Oh yeah, let's go straight to the highway. They're going to put a big expansion in, and they're going to connect the park. They're redoing this exit off the highway, and they're going to put a bridge, and they're going to put a path underneath the highway, so quote unquote wildlife can go in between the 2 areas. And they're going to expand the park more, so that'll be kind of cool. And this is pretty cool. taking my one wheel back here. But yeah, that's my goal, to see a Florida Panther here. Now, going back to the whole battery situation, I'm just going to keep on using the one wheel as much as I can before I make any modifications until something breaks. And then, but I already have an Ego leaf blower. This might be a cool area to fly my quadcopter one of these days, play with these power lines. No wonder they call this power line trail. So I am going to make my own, since I have a 3D printer, and to try to be cheap, I'm going to make my own Ego battery mount for this so I can extend my range. And this has the older firmware on it that I can do, what do they call it, charge and ride, where I can just go through the XLR port and run it off of a Ego battery. And then I have the 2.5 amp hours Ego battery, so I think they say that doubles your range. It's supposed to be 5 to 7 range. The guy told me that you get an hour of runtime out of it, and it charges in 20 minutes. And I didn't know if that was right for a good battery. Look, there's animal marks here. That's not man, I wonder if that's hog marks, because they're kind of have hooves, but it's not as big as what do you call it? Not as big as a horse. 66%. 2.5 miles at 66%. So I'm going to go ahead and turn this around, since I'm not familiar with how far I can push the battery on this thing, and I don't want to. Now these look like horse hooves. Actually, they might be. I don't know. I saw this paw print that I thought was a Florida Panther paw print down towards the entrance, but it's, in hindsight, it's probably just someone has a big dog. Man, this goes all the way down. So this is a really cool trail. So yeah, if I put that Ego kit on and extend the battery, I can really take this pretty far. Whoa. And so far, I haven't busted my butt on it. As you can see, I'm wearing a helmet because those might be too small for horses. I don't know if those are horse prints or not. Let me show you. Compared to my hand, no, I don't think a hog's hoof is that big. That must be a horse. But yeah, I haven't busted my butt yet on it. I know eventually it'll happen. I'm wearing a helmet because back when I was building an e-skate, I watched a video of a guy who had a traumatic brain injury. He had it on film, crashing his e-skate. And if you watch the video, you would think, man, he barely crashed. But the way he fell, he just hit his head just right that he had this brain injury. Okay, I'm not good at turning around. So, yeah, you can call me a nerd or what have you, but I'm gonna wear my helmet. Now, I figured this will also be a good tool. Well, the wind really picked up. I figured this would also be a really good tool for when I'm flying my quadcopter places to do drone retrieval vehicle. So, be this kind of a lot more nimble than that electric skateboard I built. In hindsight, I should have built an off-road electric skateboard with like suspension on it, but still, I don't think that would have been as useful as riding this thing. But yeah, I pretty much have ran out of things to say, but in the future, I think I am going to film changing that tire. Oh yeah, and I did buy grip tape off of Amazon. It was only $15. Bought grip tape, so I'm going to pull up the remaining grip tape on the front pad and put down new grip tape. I was wondering why you know, I bought this in Sarasota, so there's a good chance that the guy was riding it along the beach. And you know, all that salt water and stuff is hard on them. But oh yeah, that's another thing, is none of the bolts are missing or anything. Like, there's no signs that the tire has actually been changed, because all the little bolts for the cable clips are still there. But I don't know what, you know, I am kind of curious what the story is with the grip tape. Okay, so my camera cut it off, and plus I started rambling on. I have a bad habit with that. So I might do add something at the end just to say how long this ride was. I'm at 52% and I went 3.3 miles. Okay, so I'm back at my house going to get my mail, and I'm pleasantly surprised. I got 5 miles out of that trip, so apparently there's nothing wrong with the batteries at all. And another thing I'm surprised about is I checked the tire pressure just now, and the tire pressure had 19 pounds, so the tire stayed inflated the whole entire time. So I probably could have waited a little longer for that tire. So I probably shouldn't have jumped on that as fast as I did. But yeah, I should have held off, and I could have taken some more time to do some more research on that tire. But I thought the tire was a total loss compared to, based off how fast the air, in my opinion, I thought the air was pulling out of it, because I could see the slime bubbling out of it when I filled it up last time. So I thought it'll never seal, but I was surprised. So if you made it this far in the video, thanks for watching. Tell me what you think about the video, if you like these flapping rides, and tell me what you think about my purchase, if you think I am a Yahoo or not. But I think it ended up being a great value at this point. Thanks for watching. See ya.